brought to you by Charity Mobile, the phone company that supports life and family. 5% of your monthly plan price goes to your favorite charity. Buy the way you believe at CharityMobile.com and use promo code TRADITION. One of the signs of lukewarmness in the culture today is this belief that we as Catholics can participate without incurring sin and false worship. That we can go to the ecclesial communities and their praise sessions of our so-called separated brethren. We can participate in cedar meals and other things without incurring sin. Attending to false worship is a mortal sin. It's one of those teachings of the church that you don't ever hear about anymore, partially because we now live in an age of ecumenical dialogue. A dialogue that would be fine if the intent was to teach those who hold to other ways about the truths of the faith, to call them to conversion, to help them understand their misunderstandings of the faith, to teach them the faith, and have them come home to the only place where salvation can be found, or to mend schism with those with correct sacraments, with valid sacraments, and a mostly valid theology. Those would be fine. But that's not what ecumenical dialogue is about, hence why we call it ecumenical dialogue. Because what goes on now places the Catholic Church and the Catholic faith on the same equal footing with everybody else. It comes from the very top in Rome, and no, Francis wasn't the first to do it. His predecessors did it as well, all the way back to the 1960s. So I have a hard reading for you today. And not hard because it's complicated, but hard because it will challenge us. It comes from Father Michael Muller, one of the great theologians of the 19th century. And here he talks about the error of essentially ecumenism and why it is something Catholics cannot ever attend to. Catholic Theology. Why the Catholic Church condemns attendance at false worship, by Father Michael Muller, 1874. What is attendance at false worship? It is to assist at the religious worship of heretics. To worship God according to a rite contrary to all precepts of the gospel is false and unlawful worship of God. Hence it would be a grievous sin for a Catholic to worship God according to the ceremonial laws of our so-called elder brothers, for though they were prescribed by God for them before the coming of Christ, yet they were abolished by Christ in the new law. It is also false and unlawful worship of God to adopt a new religion in opposition to the doctrine of the true Church of Christ, the Roman Catholic Church, and assist at the religious worship of such false religion. Hence, even if a Catholic despises in his heart such a false religion and worship, it is unlawful for him to play the organ, or to sing, or to discharge the office of the sacristan in our elder brothers or separated brethren's temples during their false worship, or to compose hymns or music for the same, or to ring the bell calling for the people together, or to contribute money towards the building of temples for false worship, or to call a Protestant minister for the performance of some religious rites, as for the instance, the rites of marriage or baptism, or funeral, etc., or to take Protestant children or accompany grown persons to Protestant Sunday schools or church and stay with them during the religious worship. Any such act is strictly forbidden by the law of God and of the Church, because it is a real communication of formal cooperation in false worship, and a real approval of it. No one, says the fathers of the Fourth Council of Carthage in 398 AD, must either pray or sing psalms with heretics, and whoever shall communicate with those who are cut off from the communion of the Church, whether clergymen or laymen, let him be excommunicated. Such was the language of the Church in all ages. Pope Paul IV wrote to the Catholics in England, "We are forced to admonish and to conjure you that on no account you go to the churches of heretics, or hear their sermons or join in their rites, lest ye incur the wrath of God. For it is not lawful for you to do such things without dishonoring God and hurting your own souls." In consequence of such authoritative decision, the Catholic pastors of England and Scotland have made most strict prohibition of all such communication by their special regulations. Here one may say, the reason why I play the organ or sing or officiate as sacristan, etc. in a Protestant church is because I get a good pay which enables me to support my family. I answer, What you do is a grievous violation of the first commandment. It is never allowed to commit a mortal sin in order to acquire the means of support. Alas, that there are also many people who make a living by unlawful means. But the bishop or parish priest has given me permission to play the organ, to sing, etc. in the Protestant church, says another one. I answer, neither any priest nor bishop, nay, not even the Pope, can give you permission to violate any of the commandments. But I am well instructed in my religion, says another. I can see no harm in what I do in the Protestant church. I answer, I doubt what you say. If you were well instructed, you would know that attendance at false worship is a mortal sin, and that this sin is still greater for him who plays or sings at it, or renders any other kind of service for it. And do you see no harm in committing a mortal sin? Do you see no harm in the great scandal you give to those Catholics who know of it, and to the Protestants whom by your playing and singing, etc., you confirm in the belief that their religion is as good as the Catholic religion? Saint Hermegild, the son of Leogild, king of Spain, became a convert to the Catholic faith. When his father, who was an adherent to the Arian heresy, heard of it, he became quite enraged and put his son in a frightful dungeon, where he made him suffer the most cruel torments. The holy martyr wrote to his father, I avow your goodness to me has always been very great. I will preserve to the last moment of my life the respect, duty, and tenderness which I owe you. But is it possible that you should wish me to like worldly greatness better than my salvation? I value the crown as nothing. I am ready to lose scepter and life too, rather than abandon the divine truth. The prison was a school of virtue in this great martyr. He clothed himself in sackcloth and performed other bodily penances in addition to the hardships of his prison. He offered up to God many fervent prayers to obtain sufficient strength and courage to remain faithful in confessing the truth and dying for it. The solemnity of Easter being come, the perfidious father sent in the night an Arian bishop with the message to his son that if he received communion from the hand of that prelate, he would be received into favor again. Hermegild, however, rejected the proposal with indignation, reproaching the messenger with the impiety of his sect, as if he had been at full liberty. When the bishop returned to the Arian king with this account, the furious father, seeing the faith of his son proof again all his endeavors to make him give up the Catholic religion, sent soldiers with orders to end him. They entered the prison and found the saint fearless and ready to receive the ultimate end. And they dispatched of him and scattered his mind across the floor. It's probably not easy for many Catholics to hear that a saint and martyr refused to receive what would, by strictly speaking, have been valid communion from a heretic bishop. For all, the principal thing for receiving valid sacraments is, well, their sacraments that they receive, their ordination and their consecration being valid. And those bishops in those days would have had valid sacraments. What do you think Father Muller would ask about receiving sacraments from the Eastern Orthodox? A lot of traditional Catholics think about going to Eastern Orthodox worship. The Church today, for some reason, allows it under certain circumstances. This should be food for thought. These are the harder things that people always get angry at me for posting. But the truth is the most important thing. So live our lives in defense of the true faith. There is nothing more important than that. Let me know what you thought about this in the comments, please. Like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. So to sharing this on social media, that helps too. And as always, pray for the Church. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.